The following episode is brought to you by Poison City Brewing, proud makers of Durban Poison Cannabis Lager, the beer that invites you to live your poison. How's it going, guys? You got myself, Nasiphi Zwane. I'm back in with another episode of Sludge Underground podcast, and as always, I got my co-host with me, Meagan of Lemon Dove, and today we have a super special guest. All our guests are special. Today we've got Ella, and she's basically all the way from the States. She's joining us from Virginia, and she is basically the CEO of Reignland Creatives. Now that is pretty hectic considering, how young she is. So, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and we're basically going to continue the show and learn a lot more about you, and thank you once again for joining us on the show.
My pleasure. I am 25. I feel like I'm about 35, but I'm 25, and I started the brand when I was about 15. And what it is basically a creative arts agency. It has about 6 divisions now, which is the web design, the publication, gaming, merchandise, all basically just an agency to empower anybody in the creative arts field. And I do a little PR.
I'm gonna be a bit biased here because I'm a gamer like myself. Tell us a bit more about that. We're gonna break down everything here, but just to begin with, the gaming part of everything. Tell me what the whole setup is, like how you guys go about that, and what game specifically. I'm more of like an RPG type person. I don't know if you guys do more of like an online sort of gaming type thing. Give us the lowdown on that.
Well, I just launched the gaming division because I've been so afraid to live stream. And I wanted to make sure that people wouldn't just go in on me on my setup, because I can see how serious people are when they watch people live stream. They will come at you about your setup if it isn't perfect. So I was trying to make sure my setup was nice and everything, the graphics was crisp and everything. So I just launched it maybe a couple weeks ago. But I personally play Call of Duty or Fortnite and stuff. I don't want to say violent games, but first person shooter games. Those are the ones that I go after. I've been that way since I was a kid. I think my first game was 007 on the Nintendo 64, and I was about 10 or 11. So
just speaking about first person shooters and stuff, I'm gonna recommend, I don't know if you've played Fallout 4. That's what I'm currently playing right now. I'm actually replaying it, and I think you'd really enjoy it because it's got third person and first person as well. And it's just, there's a lot of exploration and stuff, and I think you'd really enjoy that if you like your first person shooters and stuff. But I don't mean to make this a gaming thing, because we are wanting to focus on, what you've got going holistically. Meagan, I don't know if you have anything on your side.
Yeah, well, I don't mind continuing the gaming topic. I'm interested to know how do you navigate the gaming world as a woman?
Well, it seems easy, more so than if I were to get into the music industry or something. It seems more inviting, or girls are more invited into the gaming community. Weirdly enough, I know there's what do you want to say? A stigma around how females are gamers and the way they're dressed and they're live streaming. I know there's a thing around it, but there is a ton of girl gamers that I watch, and a lot of them are actually better than the guy gamers. There's a lot of girl gamers that are crazy good, and it's there's not enough of them for some reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I'm playing, it doesn't really affect my gameplay, the gender of the person or the people that I'm playing with. But it's just interesting to see that even still, there are still lots of sort of circles that keep to one gender. Even the way games are sort of advertised, the way games are advertised towards different genders is very different. The visual language is very different, and the categories of games. It's interesting as another female gamer to see how different genders are trying to they get reached through different things.
Yeah, it seems harder for females to kind of get the contracts and the good sponsorships and stuff through gaming.
Yeah, especially at pro level.
Yeah.
I would love to see more.
Yeah, I tried, like when I first went and did research on the gaming part of the brand, I barely saw like women reaching like maybe a ninja kind of peak, like the gamer ninja. Like I don't see any gamer girls at his level in the gaming community. And it's just like, there's so many of them that are as good as him. So I don't understand why they don't get the same pay and, you know what I mean? Same contracts and stuff. Like, I don't get it.
With you sort of opening up the gaming division, do you think that you could maybe be sort of at the forefront? Would you say that's part of your motivation as to why you started the gaming division?
Yeah, I started the gaming division to actually create an all gaming, like all girl gaming team, because I didn't see any, and so that was the purpose of the gaming division being developed, because we should get the same attention, and not just because of the way we're dressed or the way we look, but because we're great at gaming. You know what I mean? We should get the same brand deals and the same audience and stuff like that. So that's why I started the gaming division, because basically that's what I started everything for, was to empower women. I'm a big person when it comes to empowering women. So everything I do has to deal with that. So I just thought gaming would be a good like next chapter in my empowering women kind of thing. It's going to be an all girls gaming team. That's the brand. It's going to be interesting because I'm not really a girl kind of person. Like, I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I've always been more so of a tomboy, so to have like a team full of just girls is going to be really interesting to me.
And one thing that I think we should really just sort of break like down more is sort of how you're going about sort of recruiting and getting together this team of women. Like, is it sort of like a locally based thing in Virginia, or is it like a worldwide thing? What's the criteria if someone maybe listening right now who's a female and is a gamer is like, hey, I want to be a part of this?
I never thought about that. I'm always a lurker. I'm always just going through social media, searching for stuff. I'll probably just anybody that hits me up on social media and just sends me their clips of gaming. That's probably the easiest way to get my attention, because it's the same thing with the music. People always try to figure out how to get me to look at their music, because I don't have like a little application or anything. So the best way is to DM me on social media or send me an email. I'm always on social media. I'm always checking my email. So that's the easiest way. I like people who are new to gaming. I don't know. I like to watch people like grow. You know what I mean? It's really empowering to watch people get better and better.
Yeah, and I think just one point from my side before I pass on to me.
Would you guys want to join or anything?
I mean, I'm a guy. So I'm keen though, but I don't know if I can. I don't know, Meagan, on your side. Would you be keen?
I don't know, like it's a lot of pressure for something that like I consider to be fun. But like I like the idea of like seeking out people. Like you were saying that you like looking out for the new ones, the little gems that are like upcoming and like giving them a chance. I really like that,
Yeah, that's what I always look for, even with the magazine. I like new artists, up and coming artists, because it's like there's kind of no point in trying to push somebody that already has 1 million followers. Like, they're good to go, but like a person who's maybe like they only got 25 followers, but their gaming is crazy good, they could really use my help. You get what I'm saying? So that's who I look for, because they might get overlooked by a lot of people because of their following isn't that good. You know what I mean? But their gaming is crazy. But a lot of brands don't look at that. They just look at, oh, you only have this amount of followers, so we don't want to work with you. But they probably could be one of the best gamers in the industry if they just had more followers, so.
Ella, I feel like the planets have aligned right now, because Meagan and I literally preach the same thing. In actual fact, more Meagan than myself. Like, we were speaking about this yesterday. We speak about this all the damn time. Like, everyone pays attention to numbers. Like, even in music, not just gaming. It's sort of like, hey, this guy's got like 25 followers. We don't give a shit. And like, you listen to his music and it's like, well, this guy's bloody good. Like, he's better than someone who's got like 2K fake followers or something like that, and that's the person that's getting more attention and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've had a lot of those artists hit me up, and they kind of have, some of them have this like this thing, like this entitlement because they have a certain amount of followers, and it's just like I don't look at the followers. Like I don't really care how much a person has in followers because again, like you said, some of them are fake because you can buy them. So it's like you can't really tell the difference, you know. So that's why I always look at the material because you could have that many followers and your material is just like it's okay, you know. So yeah, I don't ever look at the numbers, but I know most brands do, which is why a lot of people don't get sponsorships. And the people who have like a little bit of followers, those are genuine followers. Like I like watching their followers actually build, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I look for new instead of already established or, you know, big names. Cause I mean, again, they don't need my help. They're probably bigger than I am, so they're good. I just want to find more ways in the world to make women feel appreciated and heard. So I'm trying to cover all bases with my brand, including gaming, you know, because there's like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the FaZe Clan, because I know you're into gaming, but if you ever heard of FaZe Clan, they're like one of the top esports gaming groups or whatever. That's what I want to do, but like an all girls version. So that's my goal. And I don't want it to be a competition thing because there's already enough competition in the industry when it comes to females. People are always trying to pit them against each other. I just want the people on my team to go out and have a good time. And if they make some money from it, then cool. You know what I mean?
I feel like with how far you've gotten, you know, with Reignland Creatives and stuff, I think you've got the passion and the drive to get that far in terms of the gaming as well. So I have no doubt. It leads me to the question of just still on gaming. We've got the Xbox One Series X coming out, and we've got the PS5 coming out, and then you also got PC as well. So just let us know which is the master race on your side. Which is your preference? Which are you getting?
See, right now I have a PS4 and an Xbox One because my friends are on both. And the Xbox One has some really good exclusive games that I can't get on PlayStation, so I had to get both. The Xbox One S is so huge. Like, I don't know if I really want to get it because it's just so bulky. So I'll probably get the PlayStation 5 this time around. I'll have to get both anyway because, I mean, again, Xbox One has some exclusive. It's so difficult because they both have really good, you know, things about them. And PC, just I will never become a PC player. I don't even know how they do it. I'm terrible on PC. I have a gaming laptop, but I don't ever use the laptop part of it when I'm gaming. I always use a controller. So yeah, it'd probably be a PlayStation.
I'm still on Xbox. Like I've got an X, like the original, like the first Xbox One that came out. Like I think it was 2013 or 14, and it's just kept me going ever since. You know, it's been very reliable. The hardware is very strong. It is bulky, but it's quite tough, and it's, you know, it doesn't make a lot of noise. Like I've heard people talking about the PS4 and saying, you know, you get a lot of noise coming out of it, like from the hardware and stuff. I mean, I don't know because I haven't played it, but I think I'll stick to Xbox. Even when the Xbox One Series X comes out, I'll probably stick with that. Yeah, Meagan, on your side?
So I'm one of the people that has resorted to the mobile versions of these games because I just don't have the cool equipment that you guys have. I'm thinking about this because you're saying I got this and I got that. I'm like, I've got nothing, but I like gaming. I'm like, I'm sure I'm a gamer. Am I a gamer? Like, I'm having doubts. But then I realized, like, that's why the streaming part exists, because, like, that's how I can vicariously experience your side of it. So, like, I'm feeling really, like, inspired to go and get into, like, watching female streamers right now. I'm gonna say that it worked in the first few minutes, guys. I'm converted.
I'm glad I could bring you to the dark side.
Thank you.
Hey, this is 100%. And you know, one of the things that sort of, you know, caught my eye in terms of what you're doing and whatnot is really just in actual fact, this will go back to when Meagan introduced me to one of the artists that we've actually had on our show. His name is Reben, and I noticed that you had Reben on your blog and what you're doing, and that's basically how I then discovered your world and everything that's sort of in it. And upon doing more research, finding out that you are a CEO by 25, what sort of pressures would you say come with that, besides you just even just being a woman, being a woman alone? I understand you face a lot of pressures, but at such a young age, being a CEO, what sort of comes with that?
Well, for a long time, I did the brand by myself. So when it came to the magazine and people started taking me serious, because at first it was just a hobby and I just wanted to get something out that would empower girls at my age. But when I got to a certain point where artists and PR people were like, oh, you're an actual magazine now, people were expecting the issues to come out. So now I had a due date and I wasn't used to having a due date. So I had to scramble and get everything like by myself. I wrote all the articles, I designed everything, I interviewed all the artists. And I did that for about 5 years until I actually got the nerve up to hire some writers. So basically I have about 7 different email addresses. So when it comes to like being the head of this, now I have to, because I've hired some writers. Again, I think I've hired about 8 writers this week. So it got more and more busy every single year because the brand got bigger and bigger. So at first it was a little bit of work, and then as the years went by and the artists on the covers got bigger and more people wanted to be a part of it, I had to deal with the photography and answering all the emails, writing all the blog posts. And then the web design part, I also design websites for a living. So I had to deal with people's website design. Like, it was a lot of different things because I was the only one in the company. So, yeah, I tried my best to be there for every part of the company. I just always had a whole bunch of ideas all the time. I didn't know how to just narrow them down to one. So I always had my hand in something. So I finally buckled down and hired people to take some of the weight in the company this year.
What is sort of your process when it comes to, hiring writers and, maybe someone to assist with the photography or anything? What is your criteria when it comes to that?
I just want real writers. Like, I want people who are not writing cookie cutter content. Like, I want actual stories and actual opinions in the magazine. Like, I used to read a lot of different teen magazines when I was younger, and I just hated like the gossip columns and everything. It was so irritating to me. I want writers who actually write to make a difference and write to inspire other people and write because they're angry or because they're sad or just whatever they feel in their heart to put down on paper. That's what I want them to do. And I've had a lot of writers come to me and say, well, what is your prompts or what do you want us to write about? And it's just like, I want you to write about what you want to, because when I give you these 2 to 4 pages in every issue, that's your home to write whatever you feel. Because when I read stuff, I want to read from the perspective of the person writing it. I don't want to read from, oh, well, the editor-in-chief told us to write this. Like, I don't ever want my team to be that cookie cutter, you know what I mean, to please, maybe the standard of writing or whatever. Whatever they feel they want to write in that month or that issue, that's what I want them to do. So when I look for writers, I look for people who can make you feel what they're feeling on paper. They can just be people who write blogs on a daily basis. And I would probably hire them. Like, that's my criteria isn't crazy. You don't have to have 2 to 3 years of college experience and all that stuff. It's just, if you're good at what you do, I want you to be a part of my team.
That is very beautiful. I think a lot of you inspiring just a lot of people, and you're just motivating, a whole lot of people as well. So, props to you. Meagan?
Considering you've been at this for like a whole decade, what's the biggest thing that's changed for you? And is there something that has remained like at the core and is still present today?
The biggest thing that has changed is the way I went about certain things. Because at first, when I did the magazine, I only went into writing because I was bullied when I was in high school, middle school, elementary school. So I kind of like ended up in the house because I was too scared to go outside. So I just ended up on the computer, which is how the brand started. Because I was like, okay, well, this is all I got, so I'm going to start writing my feelings down. And so then that's where the love for journalism came in at, because I love telling people stories. And I like to talk as well, so I don't always want to talk about myself. So I like to listen to other people and learn more about them. So that's where the journalism came in at. And so I said, okay, well, how about I just put this into a publication? Because I used to look at a lot of the covers and they didn't really feature people I wanted. So I said, well, how about I just make a magazine and feature the people that I want to cover? So that's where it started at. And so I started and I never had any money for this. I just taught myself through Google, because Google is like, it's just everything you ever want to everything you ever want to learn, just go through Google. That's how I learned everything: coding, HTML, how to design apps, how to do the magazine, everything. I've learned it just by Googling. When people started to actually want to be a part of what I was doing, it kind of freaked me out, because I was just doing it out of the goodness of my heart. I just wanted to make people smile. I just wanted to create something to make a person, if they're sad that day, happy, And I was writing all the articles myself. So everything had to do with girl empowerment and just, if you think you look this way, you don't, you're beautiful. Like, I always wrote that kind of stuff. A lot of it was talking to myself, but I just always felt like if I'm in pain, I can do something to make somebody else happy, which that's the core of the brand. So over the years, I've had to learn first off how to deal with people in the industry, because I self-taught myself that, and it's not like it's very different. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but it's very, like, you can't deal with everybody the same way, and a lot of things.
It sounds like you have a pretty holistic approach, and like you take the context of who you're working with very like significantly, like deeply.
Yeah, that's not like, I've had like a lot of misses, and before I got to where I am now, when it came to working with certain people and things, because I was new to the situation. And I even went and asked a couple magazines when I first started, like, how do you guys do this? And they were just like, oh, it's confidential. We can't tell you what font we use for the cover. So it was like really me just figuring out everything, bit by bit by myself, just by researching and Googling. So over the years, the way I approach artists and design a publication and the way I write certain things has changed. My fear has changed. I've always had a fear of like becoming known or becoming popular. I just wanted to write. I never really wanted people to know who I was. But that's kind of hard if you run a magazine. So I've accepted it. So the core of the brand has always been empowerment, no matter if it was a girl empowerment or men empowerment, because I also have learned over the years that men need to be empowered as well. I've had a lot of men come into the publication and they're like, well, why don't you do anything for men? Like, men have low self-esteem too. They also need to be empowered sometimes. And it's like, we don't think about that kind of thing. Like, it's always female empowerment all the time. Like, so I've also tried to incorporate men empowerment into the magazine and brand as well. So that also changed over the years, because I was always all about girl empowerment, but I never thought about the men who needed to be empowered as well.
On that point that you were saying there about, when you were seeking help from, other publications and stuff, and they were like, no, we can't tell you, it's a secret or whatnot. I'd even go as far as to say, that was a blessing in disguise, because, by doing it yourself, you don't really owe that to anyone. You don't owe what your brand is to those specific publications and whatnot. It was a blessing in the end.
Yeah, I think so. At first, of course, I was like, well, geez, you guys can't even help with the font. But over the years, it was like, well, I can do this, and I'm a fan first. So being able to talk to all these people that I've always wanted to talk to, I try my hardest not to fan out, but I'm still a fan aside from being a journalist. So, and I always try to make sure that the conversations are comfortable, because I used to hate watching people that inspired me when I was younger, and their interviews would be so just you could just tell they were just so uncomfortable sitting there being interviewed. And it just made me so mad. I was like, oh my gosh. And a lot of the times they would say, oh, well, we told them in advance we didn't want to talk about this, and they still brought it up. So like, it just used to aggravate me as a fan to watch them be so uncomfortable. So I always made sure that all the conversations I had, they were okay with it and they felt comfortable enough to talk about whatever they wanted to talk about. And, you know, I listened. I mean, it was one time that I interviewed this girl that she's a singer, and she stopped singing for 10 years because of a situation that happened to her when she was a teenager at the time. And she had never told her story in a publication because I guess she was uncomfortable with it. But when I interviewed her, she just told her whole story. And I felt honored that she trusted me with it. You know what I mean? She didn't feel, you know, called out or anything. So that's the kind of stuff that I love about being a journalist. That's mostly what I go after, is just making people feel good enough to free themselves from anything. You know what I mean? I'm not really after all that, like, oh, who is she dating now kind of stuff. That's not the kind of it's not the kind of journalist I am. I don't even put that on the blog. I just put music and lifestyle, and I just want people to feel good.
What is the process, you know, when it comes to sort of getting onto your platform?
You can contact me any way possible, social media, email, and I'll read it. I read every email. And a lot of people think that they need like a PR person or something, but they really could just send me an email and I'll read it. And if I like their stuff, I post it. That's how simple I am when it comes to the publication. I had an actor do that the other day. He just popped in my emails. He was like, hey, this is my resume. I would like to interview. And I hit him right back and was like, dude, you're awesome. Like, I love your stuff. Like, of course I would interview you. And he was like, wow, that was a quick response. Because like, people think that they need this big old corporation to hit up a magazine or to get into a magazine, but you don't. Like, if you're good, you're good. You deserve to be interviewed. Like, that's how I look at it. When it comes to like anybody that does music, I use a platform called Submit Hub to really filter out the submissions, because there's a lot of musicians in the industry, and sometimes I get probably 100 to 200 submissions a day, and I can't handle that in my emails. So I always send them to Submit Hub. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
Yeah.
But for like actors and just anything else that's outside of music, they can just send me an email or a DM or Twitter, doesn't matter. And they don't need management. They don't need a PR person or anything. They can just send me an email and send me their stuff and I'll look at it. Because sometimes I just sit and just watch people's reels and stuff all day. Because it's just like, it's so many talented people that don't get recognized, and it's crazy. And it's surprising to me sometimes when people are like, oh, you were my first publication. I'm like, how was I your first publication? Like, you're so cool. Like, how does other people not write about you? You're so cool. Like, your stuff is so dope. Yeah. You know, and some of them are on like really popular TV shows and they don't get the recognition. So it's just really surprising. So I take anybody that just has good stuff to, just has good content. That's, you know, I don't really look for people that are huge. Just sometimes they pop in my emails, but most of the time I'm looking at indie artists and stuff like that. So, and I don't discriminate or anything against genders or the way you feel about yourself. Like, I accept everybody. I've had a lot of different people come to a publication and I didn't care. I was like, you guys are amazing. So come on in. You know, that's how I've always been. And it's just who I am as a person. I feel like people should accept everybody as they are, no matter what they feel, no matter who they identify with. So that's what the publication is about. And there's no criteria. If you have good content, you have good content.
I think you actually had an advantage by doing it that way, because, you know, a lot of blogs basically make it very difficult, you know, for artists to sort of get on there. So the fact that you're making it super like accessible, that's a huge advantage.
I got fired from a job last year. So it was either go find another job or start a business, finally. And I said, you know what? I really am getting tired of going to interviews. Like, I did little websites here and there, and the people that supported me with those, I said, if I started charging you guys every month, would you pay? They was like, yeah, we'll pay, sure. And I was like, okay, cool. So then I actually went and started the business part. So I was like, and it was perfect because then the pandemic hit and I still had a job. So I was like, okay, cool. It took me so many years to even take myself serious because I was like, other people were starting to take me serious. But I was like, when people were like, oh, I'm so honored to be in your publication. And I'm just like, why? It's not that serious. Like, I don't see what they're seeing, but I just had like a lot of people doubt me in the beginning of it. So it made me like kind of dim my own light by accident. So now that it's kind of like getting up there, of course, those people are coming back like, you remember that time I told you that you couldn't do it, but now you did? It's like, yeah, and? So,
where were you?
Yeah, you told me that was stupid. I've had a lot of people say that. Oh, you're not going to make any money from being a journalist. That's a stupid job. I'm like, okay. It's nice to see that.
Yeah, I feel like it just makes everything sweeter. Like, I feel like just as human beings in general, I really feel like we sometimes have to go through things like that just so that the victory is like that much more like sweeter and stuff. So people should just enjoy the process. It's part of the process, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you take risks, there's always going to be people there that are not going to believe in you, until you prove them wrong. So, I mean, that's a lot of creatives that have to deal with that because a lot of people don't think being a creative is very profitable or whatever. So even like, starting a podcast, people are like, oh, you're not going to, and then you guys over here with this amazing podcast, I bet you proved a lot of people wrong.
I think it's more like, just being, it's more about just sort of appreciating, the people that you meet along the way, like just for me personally, I don't know about on Meagan's side, but it's sort of like having this conversation with you now, it means a lot more to me than just sort of proving someone wrong. It's sort of like if someone wasn't really for what we're trying to do, then that's their own thing, they're sort of, behind. It's sort of in the past type thing. It's more about just living in the moment and enjoying, everything that sort of manifests with the people that you meet going forward type thing. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
I definitely do. Because I've had some things that happened in the beginning where like it didn't go, the publication didn't go as planned as I thought, with certain people. Or I remember a long time ago, I had 6 writers, one that was here, and then I had the others in the UK. And after a while, because I wasn't paying them and couldn't, because I wasn't making any money, they just quit. They just stopped writing and stopped saying stuff. So like the publication would like the day the publication was supposed to be released, I had to hurry up and write 80 pages worth of a magazine by myself because they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to send it in. I got you. I'm going to send it in this week. And I'm just like, okay, like the due date is like 2 days. And they're like, oh no, I got you. I'm sending it in. And then they just don't. And then they'll pop up and be like, oh, I just, I had to work or I had to go to school. I'm just like, all right. So then I would just like 3:00 in the morning writing 80 pages of a magazine trying to figure out content for it because they just decided not to write, but I still have to put it out. So it's like those moments really create or put power in like your brand, in all honesty. Like it really made me a stronger person when it came to the brand, and when it came time to like problems, like when problems would happen, I would be better able to solve them because I went to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Instead of panicking in the beginning, I used to panic all the time when stuff like that would happen. Like they dropped out, they can't do it. Oh my God. Like I would start freaking out like, oh my God. Like now it's just like, oh, it's okay. I got to back up. I already have this ready just in case. Like it really helps you learn what you're capable of in those kind of situations,
What would you say was sort of your driving force? Because we're all inspired by different things. What is it that sort of kept you going in moments like that where people are dropping you last minute and it's sort of like, man, I have to keep going?
I would say it was my pain in the beginning. I had a lot of pain from being bullied and stuff. And my main force was I can't let anybody else feel like this. So I have to keep inspiring. Like, I might not feel 100% right now, but there's a girl who feels worse than I do. So I have to put this out because she's looking forward to this. Like, this might be the only thing that makes her smile. So I have to put this out. Like, that's who I've always been. So even when stuff like that would happen, I'm just like, I can't, because I've had parents come to me and be like, my daughter loves your publication and I love that she reads it. It's amazing. Like, that stuff is what makes me keep pushing it. Even when people were doubting me, even when I felt like 5%, I was just like, I can't let these people down, these girls down, these young girls, whoever reads it that's inspired, I can't let them down because I don't feel good. You know what I mean? So I always have to push because there's people that are in worse situations mentally and physically than me that my publication might be the only thing that makes them happy that day. You know, I've always wanted to turn my pain into something positive. And that's what I've did with everything. So the magazine before, the title of the magazine before Reignland, it was PGAB, which stands for Pretty Girls Against Bullying. And that's why a lot of celebrities wanted to be a part of it because it stood for bullying and, you know, going against it and everything. So that was the title when I was 15. So when I got older, I was like, okay, that's a cute title. But now I'm like 18. So I got to mature it up a little bit. So that's when I went to Gold Crown. And I was like, that's cute. But now I'm 25. So now I need to upgrade a little bit more. So then that's when I went to Reignland. So that's the ending. And the other cute part about that is my daughter's middle name is Rain. So Reignland is spelled that way because that's the way her middle name is spelled. So it also contributes to that. So that's my driving force is I know there's people that read my publication and it just makes them smile. So I don't ever want people to feel the way I felt when I was younger. You know, it's even when if I ever do videos, it's going to be the same for that too, because there's a lot of content creators that when people watch them, you know, they help cure people's depression and stuff like that just because they're being themselves on camera. So it's like those people feel like they have to still push out content no matter how they feel. You know what I mean? So that's how I am with everything.
That was going to be my follow-up question about what the meaning is behind, you know, Reignland Creatives, behind the actual name. So thank you for clearing that up. And you know, just through everything that you've been saying, you know, in this interview, like I think anyone who's even listening is able to actually hear that you're very passionate about what you do, and you know, it's what you're doing, you know, can really inspire, you know, other women and whatever it is that you end up doing, whether it's gaming or running the magazine, being a CEO. You really are like a shining light for them.
Yeah, like you have so much to be proud of, and like I'm just wondering, do you ever like have to manage burnout? Because like it seems like you're just always like switched on, and like you are in so many directions at once, and like you say, your notifications must be so intense. Like, do you ever have to like really pause, or like do you have a routine to just manage all of that?
Yeah, I have a big heart, so I'm always like up. I'm always up all the time. And when it comes to like negativity, if it's too much coming my way, I have to like shut off everything and just go to my happy place. And my happy place is either gaming or watching some 90s cartoons. Like that's what I do when I have to like just relax sometimes, because it does become a lot being on all the time, as you said. And at first I didn't know how to handle it. I would just get really depressed when I was younger and didn't understand why. I just eventually, as I got older, I just realized that I really have to take care of myself as much as I take care of other people. So sometimes I just take a day off and just sit and do nothing or go to sleep, because I get worn out. I get tired because I am doing most of all the work. I have a head of photography person finally. So it's two of us. So that's, you know, she's helping me with a lot of things. And it took a little weight off of my shoulders, but for the most part, it's just me. I design everything. I, do all the interviews, do all the articles, do all the blog posts, and I put everything together. But I mean, that's mostly my choice because nobody can do my brand better than me, kind of thing, because it's my vision. So it's like, if I want it to be done, I kind of have to do it myself sometimes. But that's why I added the other writers, because I'm like, I'm going to share this vision with somebody else. It's okay if I just share it. It's fine. So yeah, I choose to do a lot of it by myself, but it's just me being an introvert, in all honesty. I'm not a person that's like outgoing. I can talk, as you can see. I can talk your head off for hours. I don't mean to. It's just my personality, but I'm more so of an introvert. I'm not gonna say I'm antisocial, but I'm weird around people. Like, if you ever meet me in person and I'm just staring at you, I promise I'm not being weird. I'm just I'm just trying to figure out how to say hi. But a lot of people like, why are you just staring at me? I'm like, I'm scared. So I just take some time off sometimes. I can't too much because I have deadlines and everything, but I take maybe a couple hours or a day and just don't do anything. How do you guys deal with burnout? Because I bet you guys, doing a podcast have to deal with a lot of things.
Like, I'm similar. Definitely need time to decompress, and I need time to like restore my energy. And sometimes that can take an afternoon of listening to good music or a visit to like the nature, but sometimes that can take days. So I allow myself, whatever, like when it feels right to get back into it, then I do it.
I think also for me, it's similar to your process, Ella, in that for me it's gaming. Honestly, like I wouldn't say I'm like a hardcore gamer, but it's more just to take a break from everything else and just sort of relax type thing. And I also think as well, just spending time with family. Just sort of like chill time, spending time together, maybe watching something or watching a series or whatever it may be. I think we sometimes overlook, the effects that family has as well. I mean, especially for you, like, having a daughter, I'm pretty sure, you get those days where it's just like, you've had a hectic day and then just seeing your daughter sort of just brings sort of like it lights up your day. I don't know if you've ever felt sort of those vibes.
Yeah, sometimes I just sit there and stare at her and be like, wow, I actually pushed you out. That's crazy. Like, you're actually real. That's insane. Like, I know when she gets older, she's going to be like, Mom, why are you staring at me? And I'm just like, you're real? Like, that's crazy. Because, I mean, I always wanted a kid or somebody to like love, because I'm a person who just like, if I love you, I'll love you to death. I will literally do anything for you. So I always wanted a person that I could do that with and didn't have to worry about like it going wrong or something, because a kid will love you forever no matter what. So when I had her, of course at first I was like, wow, I'm a parent, that's crazy. But eventually I was just like, she just became like kind of like the motivation for me to just keep pushing, aside from what I said in the beginning. But she became part of my motivation because it's like, I want her to see me do good. I want her to have somebody to look up to that she can say, that's my, like, she can be proud to say, that's my mom right there. Like, my mom is a beast. She is a CEO. She is killing it. Like, she's been through some things, but she didn't let it stop her. Like, that's what I want my daughter to be able to say about me, Yeah. And a lot of my friends didn't have that kind of parent that they could do that to. So I was like, I want to be that parent. Like, I can't say that, but like, I want to be that parent when I have a kid. And it was weird, having a kid. It was because I felt like a kid when I had a kid. So it was weird.
Just on that point there, like, I remember, because I've got like a daughter as well, and she's like 3 now, and I remember like speaking on that weirdness of just becoming a parent and stuff at a young age. It's sort of like, I remember when it sort of hit me. I think it was last year, when we enrolled her, when she started going to school and stuff, like preschool and everything, and we got called for like a parents meeting, myself and her mom, and it was just like, just yesterday, my parents were going to parents meetings for me, like at my school, and then it's now like, well, shit, now I have to go to parents' meetings for my person that, that I sort of created as well. And it's just like, it's mind blowing. It's a very weird experience. Like, it's weird as hell. So I completely get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's so weird because it's like I'm still trying to grow. Like I'm only 25. A lot of people like, oh, you're still young. You're not really an adult yet. Because I look like I'm about 16. If you see me in person without all the makeup and shit, like I look like I'm about 17 years old. Like that's why I put on a lot of makeup sometimes. Because I'm gonna tell you this funny story. And try not to laugh so hard. I was walking down the street and I had a backpack on, and I'm like 23 at this time. I was walking down the street to my mom's house, and I had a backpack on, and this school bus from a high school drove past me, and she stopped the bus, and she was like, "Hey, baby, are you gonna get on?" I'm like, "What?" It was a high school. I said, "I'm not in school. I don't go to school. Like, no, thank you. I don't go to school. Like, what the?" She was like, "Oh, I thought you." She said, "You look, really young. I thought you were going to the." I said, "No, I'm 24. I'm not in high school anymore. Thank you, though." And I've also been carded at the movie theater. I've been carded at GameStop. When I went to go buy GTA 5 again, they asked me for my ID.
What?
I said, "Wow." She was like, "Yeah, it's just a protocol. Just make sure you can buy the game." I said, "I don't have my ID, but my mom's in the car. Do you want me to go get her?" Like.
I think that
So my mom came in. She was like, "This makes no sense. She's 24. She's like, she looks pretty young." I'm like, "Okay, all right, I get it. It's okay."
I think it's a positive though, because it means you got like good genes and stuff. If you're looking 17 at like 25.
Yeah, I look at it like that now. I used to hate it because it's like people just like, I've always gotten asked, "Oh, what high school do you go to?" And I'm like, "What?" To be an adult. Like at that time I just wanted to be an adult. I wanted people to take me serious, as a 18 or 19-year-old or 20-year-old. And people still like, "Oh, what grade are you in? Like, what high school are you going to? When are you graduating?" I'm like, man, I'm still not old enough. Like, I don't want to be an adult now all the time. I hate being an adult sometimes, but like, it's nice that people think I'm under 25. It's really sweet. Especially with a kid. I be thinking people think I'm a teen mom sometimes when I'm with my kid. Because like, if you think I'm 17, like, Jesus Christ. Like, when I have a kid with me, man, probably judging me crazy right now.
Just looking at that point, with your daughter, just my final thing on kids and stuff. To me, you've got two babies. So how do you handle, and make sure that one doesn't take priority over the other? And when I say two babies, I mean your actual daughter and, Reignland.
You know what? It's kind of hard, but she's very understanding, even as a 4-year-old, which is weird. Like, she's a Gemini, first off. So one side of her is like understanding, and then the other side isn't. So I don't know. Most of the time when I'm working or something, and she comes in and like tries, hugs me and everything, she'll just hug me, and then I'll hug her back, and she'll say, "Okay, Mom, go back to working." And I'm like, "Okay." And then she'll just go and do her own thing. Like, she's a very independent kid. So like, even when I'd stop working sometimes and try to go hug her, and she's like, "Go back to working, you're fine." And I'm just like, "Okay, I just want to hug you, Jesus." So it's like, it's easy to maneuver the two. Sometimes I have to take a break though, because I will just continue to work and work and work. So I have to force myself to take a break. She's always around. She's always running around. She's always doing stuff, being a 4-year-old. So I'm always up and at him all the time, but I don't know. It's hard to balance it sometimes, especially when she was younger. It was hard to balance it because like newborns, man, I'm just glad I'm past that stage. But like, when she gets older, it gets easier to balance the two, because she can do more for herself, and I don't have to really be on her 24/7, like I was when she was like 1 year old and stuff. So it got easier. It'll probably be more difficult when she gets to be like a teen, and I have to go to all these parent-teacher conferences and everything. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm not ready. Yeah, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for the heartbreaks and, you know, the crying and the, hey, mom, I just lost my virginity. Like, I'm not, nope. I'm going to just leave the room at that point. Like, nope, you didn't. I didn't hear it. You can come back later.
That would be the end. That would be it for me.
Yeah, but like, nope, I'm not ready. Try again later.
Yeah, like I think since we're covering the young female and sort of the young adult female, I'm wondering how we can make space for older people, and not just older females, but older people in general in this type of media. Do you think that it's like harder to reach that side of like age with this media, with this formats, or do you think it's something that they can get onto?
I think by creating like a table and a space for everybody, it will make the media see it more. I mean, a lot of people wait to be invited, and it's like the industry may never invite everybody. You know, it's always going to be a standard. It's always going to be, oh, you have to look like this or be this way to be invited. But I just decided a long time ago that I was going to create it. You know, you don't have to be a specific way or look a certain way or have this amount of followers. Like, if you're good, you're good. That's literally all that should matter. Is if you're good, then you deserve the recognition. You know, so even a couple days ago, I got an application from a writer who was 46, and she was just like telling me about how you know, for a long time, she had to find like the, what's the word? The confidence to really put her writing out there and everything. And, you know, she was like, if my like content is not what Reignland is looking for, I understand, but I just wanted to see if maybe you would, you know, allow me to join the team. And of course, it's like, okay, most the people that work at Reignland are like in their 20s, maybe younger than that. So it's like having a more mature voice is going to bring more mature people. So that's another window of opportunity for that audience that I can't reach because I'm only 25. Like, who wants to listen to a 25-year-old when you're like 56? You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to hear what I gotta say. Not that age, but like if I have a 46-year-old that's a writer and she's writing so they can understand, then that's another audience that is going to come to the table, you know? So that's what I try to do. I try to bring in people to create just a mixture of everybody in one collective, because I feel like everybody should be heard, you know, no matter what. So I can't reach everybody personally because I'm not everybody. You know, I haven't been through everything. I'm not, you know, I just haven't been through everything. So I can't reach everyone. So I try to bring in different people from different walks of life to bring in their group, you know, so everybody can feel like they're all welcomed, at least into my platform. You know, I can't really make other platforms accept them, but on my brand, everybody's welcome, you know. And it's okay if certain people have personal beliefs and everything like that, but everyone's always going to be welcome, because I don't ever think that the industry will ever change its standards, but, you know, you just make your own, you know what I mean? How do you guys like handle your platform when it comes to different people like wanting to come? How do you guys engage with different walks of life and everything that want to come on your platform?
I think, you know, I'm also going to let Meagan answer, because like we've recently started working together, so just like to see what her experience was on that. But I think just on my end is sort of just, as much as it is sort of like based on music, I've tried to over the years, you know, not limit, you know, myself and also just the platform in general, because I feel like limitations, you know, they sort of, how can I say, they sort of, you know, limit the growth as well, type thing. So hence we're having, you know, a conversation with you as well, someone who, you know, who's running, you know, her own sort of online mag and whatnot. You know, it's I feel like as the years go by, it's sort of shaping up and morphing into, you know, whatever it is, you know, because I think it also is sort of, you know, the same sentiments that I share, and that, you know, the most important part is, you know, hearing, you know, different people's stories, and you won't really get to hear that if if you limit yourself to just, something that you set out maybe in the beginning. As time goes, you are influenced by different things and different experiences and whatnot. So, fortunately, for now, I think anyone who's sort of seen the platform, like we've has sort of noticed or realized that, okay, we specifically deal with artists, so we haven't really had someone maybe who is like a lawyer or something come through and is like, yo, dude, can you guys get me on the platform and stuff? But I honestly think, like, just moving forward in the future, it's not out of the picture, because as I say, it's all about the experiences and what you can learn, from different people and their experiences as well. So that's where, I'm at. So I think that's how we basically deal with it on my end. Meagan?
Yeah, like I try and challenge myself to try and feel a connection with almost anyone. I mean, I won't say I have zero boundaries, because I think even the most empathic people are that way because they have certain boundaries. But I try to discover, like, there are a lot of things that I always want to be wrong about. And like, I go into that. Like, if I think I have a misconception, or if I think I don't know enough, it's about me, like, finding it from the person kind of thing. Like, I won't look at things that maybe other people have said. I'd rather just talk to a person directly about them so that I can get, like, a deeper understanding. So it's about that quest for me, just understanding and learning.
I think, like, just between the three of us, there's just there's so many similarities. I'm just remembering something that you said as well, Ella, earlier, in terms of how you're not really like a person that really likes going out and all that. You're more like sort of super chilled, laid back, at home type thing. And Meagan and I are the exact same. So I'm really glad that we are speaking to someone who's like-minded. I mean, even with your views and everything that you've shared, we're all on sort of like the same wavelength. I sort of want to move on to something. You are, I think, the second person from the States that we've had on the show, if I'm not mistaken. And the first that we had was, she's really talented, she's really dope, you should check her out. Her name is Jasmine Desson. And, she was basically, when we interviewed her, it was around the time when, the whole Black Lives Matter movement was like a hectic thing, like over in the States. I need for you to school us, Ella, like, because we like all the way in South Africa and stuff. What was the situation? What is the current situation? And like, are things generally as bad as they are portrayed, in other countries? Because we looked, like, when you watch the news, it really seems like, police brutality and, color discrimination and all that there seems to be very rife and sort of prevalent that side. Is that the case?
Yes. The news doesn't even have to like fake anything. It's definitely as bad as it seems on the news. It's just like it's an ongoing thing that's been happening for years, and people just got tired of it, and they just went out and made it known that they were not going to take it anymore. And I personally dealt with racism in my life because of my complexion. When I was younger, a lot of people thought I was white because I naturally have blonde hair. I have natural blonde hair. I have blonde eyebrows. And of course, my complexion is light. So a lot of people didn't understand why I looked the way I did. I would say, I'm Black. I promise you, I'm African American. That's what my birth certificate says. And people are like, you can't be Black. Black people aren't that light. Your hair isn't. And it's like, I've been called every name in the book when it comes to being, sometimes I wondered if I should have even been offended, because I've been called every name when it comes to trying to degrade a white person or just a person in general. I've been called every name. I've also been called every name when it came to being a person of color. So it's like, I understand the anger of the people in America and why they are marching. And, a lot of the times you can't just protest on social media. You can't just post a picture on social media and create a petition and think that's just going to be it. You sometimes have to go out in the streets and you sometimes have to get up in their faces and tell them we're not taking this, and that's what people did over here. And it got a little out of hand. Some places, people started robbing stores and all that. That part just kind of messed up the narrative. But the part where people are protesting and standing together and, they're not caring about your race, they're not caring about your views. All they care about is one thing, and that's unity. And that's what people from other countries should look at. Like, that's what that is about, and they should continue it for years. That's how the world should be. Unity is what should be the center of all these protests and everything. And yeah, there's some bad cops and racist people around and everything. And it's not something you can just clean up overnight. But the fact that people are working so hard and coming together to clean it up is amazing. And the fact that there's more good people in this world, as you can see, than bad is also amazing. I just sometimes sat there and like watched kind of I'm not gonna say the world falling apart, but it almost felt like the world was kind of falling apart in the beginning. But at the same time, it was kind of a beautiful sight to see all of these people standing up for something that a long time ago people were afraid to really, get out there and fight for. So I personally did not go to a protest because I'm an antisocial person. It's not because like I'm not gonna stand out there and fight, but like it's so many people. Like I would get claustrophobic and stuff. Like I couldn't do it. But I did donate to the Black Lives Matter movement. I did donate and I did, my part online, and I'll always stand up for what's right. I'll never back down from that. I'm always a fighter, but it's really difficult to really say like one thing caused it. It was multiple things that caused, that. And I always wonder that, like, how people saw that situation that wasn't here. So it's really interesting to hear your take on it, because it was like, I wonder if they think like we're crazy or something. Like, because like from watching it, it did look pretty bad. Like stuff was getting set on fire. Like people was getting like it looked crazy if you just watched it on the news and wasn't here. So I could see why you'd be like, "Are you guys okay over there?" But it was kind of beautiful because all these people were fighting for the same cause. They were fighting for unity and everyone being equal, and it's amazing that these people all have the same goal in mind, and they're not and you can be a part of it. I think is the other big thing, is that anybody can be a part of this fight. How did the the Black Lives Matter movement affect you guys in South Africa?
We had our own wave. It was like ignited.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't as big as it was in America, but we had like, pockets of like people and groups and stuff sort of getting together and protesting as well. It wasn't on like a mass scale or anything like that, but it certainly, like, the impact was certainly, felt, because people were like, they reacted to it down here, even though they weren't like directly affected, but they, people were out in the streets, with their signs and all that. Like I say, it wasn't on a mass scale, but you did get people. Yeah.
Did you guys ever deal with racism in South Africa?
I'm not going to say racism does not exist in South Africa. It definitely does, in different ways, like after 1994. But I would say it was the physical effects, like it was at its worst pre, like 1994. Now it's more on like just the general racism that you get, like, around the world, I'd say, like, yeah, like it's not as hectic as back then, but it definitely still is there. I don't know, Meagan, on your side, if you share the same sentiments.
For me, like, when it comes to inequality in any form, like as soon as you start talking about one form of oppression, you start seeing that there are other sectors that impact that, and there's compound effects, and they're baked into a lot of our systems and, into our language. So I think like it's more of an intersectional thing where like it's not just racism, there's also classism, there's ageism, there's gender bias, and all of these layers are sort of like we all are facing them. And, like it's almost impossible to focus on one for long enough without another coming up, because at the end of the day, it's the human condition, and it's the way that how we're maybe supposed to be together and be with our planet doesn't fit into the way society functions. So I think like no individual human could perfectly fit and thrive in the system, and like no extreme success or like condensed power exists without there being like oppression and inequality somewhere else. So like for me, it's a movement towards balance and abundance. Like when you talk about empowerment and empowering not just women, I totally agree, because like empowerment is about abundance. It's not like if I empower someone else, then I'm unempowered. I'm still empowered. So it's about that ripple effect and that sharing and like being able to unravel these traumas like simultaneously together, because it's all so many layers. It's so complex. Yeah, so I struggle to like think about one without thinking about everything else that is just against us as a whole and as an individual.
To top off on what Meagan said there, like currently the one thing that we are facing that I think is bigger than racism, just on the point where she is saying that you'll try to focus on one thing and then another comes up. We're currently dealing with gender-based violence. That's like the biggest thing right now. So like there's even like crazy, there's like
pandemic.
Yeah, there's like crazy statistics, like crazy ass statistics about women getting like murdered Meagan, I don't know if you know the actual like number, like a woman gets killed here like every
femicide rates are at a point where like I think it's like every 3 hours a woman is murdered.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's something to that extent. Please don't take my word for that. Like, do your own research, as always.
But it's
PSA. But it's enough for our president to declare, a formal stand against femicide and gender-based violence, because it disproportionately affects women in our country. So, like, it's just as like aggressive as the pandemic is.
Is there like a purpose, or is it just happening randomly?
I think it's been exacerbated by our lockdown situation, and our data has been able to sort of deal with two different situations. Like, what is it like when people have access to alcohol and going out and gathering, and then what is it like when people are forced to stay with each other in the home? And like, we've had quite a few insights coming out of our statistics in terms of crime and in terms of abuse reports and reports, murder reports, suicide reports, all them reports. Like, it's been quite eye-opening for us in terms of that. But also we struggle to get the quality information in terms of all of this. It's overwhelming.
In terms of the gender-based violence in Zulu culture, it's sort of like we don't even have like conversations about sex with our parents or any. Well, it depends on the household. Like my parents are chill, but you'll find that in very like traditional households, children don't really communicate and like with their parents, and their parents don't really communicate about them. So you'll find that maybe a child will think that it's okay to see, maybe when they see their father beating up their mom or something, it's like, because it's nothing, it becomes like a normal thing to them, which is like toxic. And I think some of it boils down to all that there. We just haven't advanced enough or as much as what you guys have maybe on your side.
How did you personally change that, like, or break that chain in your culture?
I think it's you know, it's doing things like empowering each other. You know, conversations like these here. You know, it you can literally start. You need to start with what you have and the tools that you have at your disposal. So literally, like even in the workplace, if it's a situation of you are talking to your other male colleagues and it's you guys are having a conversation, you know, about maybe debunking or maybe even, you know, cutting out or empowering each other to maybe not do such things, you know, and sort of speak about your experiences and maybe speak out about, you know, there's this whole masculinity thing and whatnot. And, you know, like I say, it's basically about utilizing what's at your disposal. Because someone else might think to themselves, I need to go protest. I need to do this. I need to do that. But it also just starts with everything available to you. Speaking to people at the workplace, you know, conversations with your friends, calling each other to order and whatnot, and even the way that you raise when it comes to your children as well, like right at home. You know, if someone has a son or if someone has a daughter, like you educate them on, you know, if you have a son, it's like, yo, dude, this is wrong. You know, don't do this, don't do that. Like, I feel like the most important thing that people overlook is home. Like, if you can raise your son to respect and look up to a woman and, you know, groom them to not become and set an example as well and not be the monster that or the monsters that are doing this, you know, it helps in the long run, because then you're raising, you know, someone who will be less likely to do such things in the future. So that's how I'd say. I don't know, Meagan, on your side.
Yes, similarly, I may not be able to do enough as one person, and I may not be able to do what I can do all the time. But it makes me think of something Adrienne Marie Brown said. I think she was paraphrasing Octavia Butler at the time, but it was like she said that the smallest democracy is your family. So start with them and then branch out. You know, like if you're going to fight for global democracy or fairness or justice, like start in the home, start with you, you know, and slowly make that ring bigger. And like you can make personal pledges, like something that you can maintain, and you can fail at them, but as long as you're willing to get better at whatever you need to learn more about. You know?
I do that all the time.
Yeah. And like admit that you're wrong, you know. Like in some cases you should want to be wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like the future is very important. Like we underplay it a lot, but I feel like some of the changes that need to happen need to start with the children. We need to start at home, like Meagan was saying, so that, you know, we may not even see like the revolution because we might be dead by the time, you know, our children are old enough to see change. And in order for change to happen in the future, it needs to be instilled within the people who are going to be living in the future, type thing.
I definitely agree.
Just on like the misconceptions though, like earlier you were asking, you know, what you know, how we're sort of receiving the news of everything that's sort of happening that side. Just one point, like what we also like hear often about that side is how it really seems like people are against like Donald Trump and all that, and he's like an asshole and all that shit there. Like I want to hear from you if that is really the case. And also I also want to ask you, like almost like the majority of the people overseas are under this misconception that South Africa is like the Lion King, where we've got like lions roaming in the streets and all that. Like, is that the general like consensus that side?
Personally, my favorite comedian is Trevor Noah, and he's from South Africa. So like the way he talks about South Africa and the way he's shown America, South Africa, I think it's changed the way we look at it. Me personally, anyway. I never thought that they had like lions roaming the streets or anything. I kind of thought that it was more unified, except for the apartheid things. That's why I learned about the apartheid was from Trevor Noah when he talked about it. His mom was Black and his dad was Swedish, so they kind of couldn't be together, and he couldn't walk down the sidewalk with his mom and his dad because of the apartheid. So I really learned about that through his book, and it was very surprising because a lot of people didn't really talk about it over here, but it should have been talked about because it was a big deal to South Africa, and it should have been a big deal to America to kind of help stop that, you know what I mean? But as far as Donald Trump, I am not a fan. I wasn't a fan when he got elected. I did not vote for Donald Trump. I mean, he's made some interesting decisions that makes you really question him as a president. He's not America's favorite. No, like people are really, there's more people voting against him this election than it is going for him. So I guess I could answer your question because like when he first was like running, he didn't even think he was going to win. So when he won, he was also surprised. So people kind of voted for him because he was different. He didn't have any political background. He was a celebrity. They're like, okay, maybe he might do something. And then he got in, and then everybody's like, please get him out the chair, please. Like, that's how people are now. And it's amazing because it's like, I kind of knew it wasn't going to work because you got to have some kind of political background to be the president of a country. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't have none. He knew nothing about being a governor or nothing. He just ran a TV show and a couple of businesses. Like, the fact that the qualifications to be a president is just that you have to live here and be a certain age is crazy. He's let people know that you can literally be anybody and become the president of the United States, which isn't bad because it's very inspiring to children, of course, and people who don't think they're special enough to be the president. Like, anybody can do it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, they might want to like amp up the qualifications a little bit, maybe a year in college or something. Like, I don't think you just being anybody should be the qualifications, because obviously it doesn't turn out great, as you can see. I mean, the way you guys see it over there is very true. America kind of hates him, so yeah.
With his business know-how, though, would you say the economy has sort of strengthened, or has it sort of just gone backwards?
I think business-wise, he's probably a brilliant dude. That's the crazy part. It's like, if he was coming into the White House to like amp up the business part of the country, he probably would kill it. But president-wise, he has no experience whatsoever, So it's like he's kind of going in there like guessing. You know what I mean? And it's like you have to understand when a person goes into something like that and they have no idea what they're doing, they're going to mess up. It's going to happen. Yeah. Like, they're not going to do it perfectly. And people kind of expected him to go in there and like clean up America. And I'm just in there like, how, when he has no idea what he's doing? He's going to mess it up. And I mean, it's okay that he's going to mess it up because, I mean, come on now. Like, he had no idea what he was doing. So what standard did we really put him to when he got in there? You know what I mean? Yeah. I really didn't have no high hopes for this situation. I was just here. Like, I can't really do nothing about it. So I was just like, okay, we'll see how this goes. But a lot of people had high hopes for him. So they were kind of disappointed when he didn't come through. You know what I mean? And I don't understand that. Again, I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't bash anybody that believes that, he was a good president or anything. Like, everybody should have their own beliefs and everything. I personally I don't rock with that camp over there. So I was voting for Hillary. I was over here like, I stand with she. I wasn't the first female president because I'm just all about female empowerment. But I mean, once he's in the chair, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You just have to ride the wave until it's over. So I'm not a person who's like big on politics because there's always something that happens no matter who the president is, And it's really nice that we were able to, make history a couple of times. That's cool. But like, you're never going to get a perfect president. And people really have to stop thinking that's going to happen because it's not. Like, there's always going to be something that goes wrong with any president. it's just, nothing's ever going to be perfect. You're running a whole country, you know what I mean? So you're not going to be prepared for every situation. I mean, I don't hate the man. It's just like, okay, his time is up, so can somebody else take it? Like, that's how I feel. Like, he had his run, so, like, can somebody else go now, please? And I think that's how everyone else is. Like, they're like, okay, well, he had his chance. So, next. So, I mean, I'm cool with whoever gets in the chair as long as, they don't freaking destroy America. I have no problem with it,
How's Kanye's chances looking? Because you've been hearing a lot, like, about him wanting to run and stuff.
The crazy thing is, for some reason, I honestly feel like Kanye will be a killer president. Like, just because of the way he is, like, the way he thinks about certain things, he probably has some really good ideas. Again, he doesn't have any government experience, so of course that's like a red flag. Like, he's not going to be perfect. Like, he has no experience whatsoever in government, but he also has really good ideas. So it's like, maybe, he might be a little better than Trump, I've seen some of his speeches, and it's kind of confusing, but I get some of the points he's making, but at the same time, it's kind of, he kind of confuses me a little bit. I mean, what do you think between him and Joe Biden? I mean, who's better on it? You can't really even, the choices aren't that great. I'm not going to say the choices aren't that great because, I mean, Joe is pretty cool, you know what I mean? He was cool when he was vice president and whatnot, but, like, that's a weird choice, like Joe Biden versus Kanye West. Like, who would have thought that would have been a choice? And, of course, like, people are going to vote for Kanye because they are fans of him, for one, and they're going to think it's cool to say that Kanye West is my president. But I don't even know, like, a part of me would probably vote for Kanye West just because he does have some good ideas. But at the same time, Joe Biden would break history with the vice president that he chose. You know what I mean? He would make the first female African-American vice president. So it's like, I'll probably also choose that for that reason alone, It's even weird to say that Kanye West is running for president. You know what I mean? Like, what? Again, they're making it known that anybody can run. As long as you have money, anybody can run. My choice, number one choice, was always Bernie Sanders. That was my guy from the start. I always loved Bernie. I was so sad when he left, but I don't know. Would you vote for Kanye? Like, would you vote for Kanye West if you were here? Like,
if everything ran on music, definitely, because he's a genius. Like, he's a god when it comes to production. Like, untouchable. Like, if the country was basically standing on just music alone, I would be like, I'd come to America to become a citizen to vote for him, type thing. Meagan, I don't know if you share the same thoughts.
I feel like we're at a point where we should have a virtual simulation presidency where they both can have an internship virtually and they can give it a shot, and they have to build their own city and maintain it. Like when you get like a doll to take care of to practice for parenting.
Oh, yeah.
They should get like a virtual simulation, like SimCity Build It or whatever. And they should have to keep those people alive and well, or something like, they should have to be able to do it for like at least like 3 to 6 months virtually. And then like, might as well have rankings. Might as well.
Do you guys not feel that approach would sort of be like the person would be on their best behavior for like 6 months? And then after that, once people are like, oh, actually, yeah, that person is dope. And then when he's like on top, then he's like, haha, I fooled all of you. Fuck all of y'all, or something like that.
But tell me that doesn't happen anyway. I mean, like, the last few campaigns and, like, elections have been more of, like, a game show, like, celebrity edition kind of thing than anything else. Yeah, like...
Yeah, they make, like, all these promises on the roads, and they become president, and it doesn't happen. And then people are like, what? You promised us pizza and free money, and we don't get it now? Like, he is just trying to get you guys to vote. Like, he can't do that. Like a lot of the campaign, I was sitting there like, he can't do, like, that's impossible. He can't do that. Like, but people are like, yeah, free college forever. Like, you know how much money is going to come out of our taxes for free college? Or like, we're not Canada. We can't afford that. Like, I was sitting here like, people are really going off of these, promises. And I guess it's a part of the, campaign thing. You have to make yourself seem great, but they don't understand that people really believe these things. They really believe these promises. And then once they get in there, you can't get them out. Like, I really wish they would do like a trial period, like maybe a week in office, and then if they're terrible, they can leave. Yeah. Can I sign up for a trial period?
But it kind of goes back to what I was saying though, in that the trial period. Can we really rely on the trial period though? Because I mean, like, I'm on my best behavior during that trial period, and then after that, I'm gonna screw all of you over.
Then. You got to give a good mission. Like, okay, so what would you do if this happened? But you got to give like the worst possible situation. And then the way they handle it will just answer your question if they should be president or not. Like, okay, so if this happened, which button would you push? Nuclear button or no? Like, what would you, like something like that. It'll just something that makes them have to really think and show that they're good for this presidency. It shouldn't be nothing easy, like, creating jobs or something. Like, it's, that's easy to create a job. But like, okay, how would you get rid of $3 million, the $3 trillion deficit in a month? Like, make that go away, and then you can be president. Like, that should be one of the things that they have to do, because $3 trillion is a lot of money to just poof in a month. So I want to see somebody please come and, because that thing's been there for years and no one's been able to like bring it down a notch. So I need a president who could do something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay. I do have one question. Okay, since there was a time where you were doing all of this by yourself, and I know that you do have your head of photography. Is it Shannon Williams?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I know you have teamed up with her, and now you say that you're opening it up to collaboration. But are there any unpublished, like, secret articles or tapes that you sort of like you've archived? Is there an inventory?
There's definitely a couple of issues that I've had to unpublish because of like controversies that the cover artists have. Like, I remember a long time ago, there was this girl group that I had put on the cover, and it was ready to go. It was ready to go and everything. And someone emailed me and was like, my daughter reads your magazine, and I don't think that this girl group is like the best for your platform because they did this. And they sent me the screenshot of like them like having a whole argument, cussing somebody out on Instagram, calling them out their names, like being so rude. And I was like, God dang it. Like, I had just published this issue and they had already ruined the freaking, publication that their issue at that time, because they were just going ham on people, like on social media, just posting. And this was after it was published. So like before then, they were cool. They were fine. They didn't do any of that stuff, whatever. Everything was cool. And then all of a sudden, after it gets published, they just go crazy. And I'm just like, do I keep it up or do I kind of like please my readers and kind of take it down? So I had to take that whole publication down. And then there's another one that I did, and there was a girl group on there, and I had to change the cover because I'm not going to say who it is because they're still a girl group, but they were really new, but they had made like a couple of songs. They weren't signed or anything. And they were on this reality show with another, I'm going to say she's kind of like iconic. She was really big in the early 2000s. And they were on her reality show, and she was trying to like help them out, like get them bigger and everything like that. And they were just so disrespectful to her. Like, they played around all the time. They kind of played her career down. And so when I like did the cover and told him, yeah, okay, you can get on the cover and everything. Cool. I had already made it and sent it to him and improved it and everything. And when I went and did some more research on them and watched it, I was like, wow. Like, it really made me upset because it's like, to talk to them, it was different, but to see them in action, I guess because it was a reality show, maybe they were like acting, but it was supposed to be real, because it was supposed to be a real reality show. So I was going based off of that. And like people in the comments were like, they're so nasty. They're so rude. Like, why are they talking to her like that? Why is it like people were pissed because they were really going at this girl and she was just trying to help them. And I just had to end the cover. And so I posted somebody else on the cover and they tweeted me a thumbs up and unfollowed the Twitter. And I was like, I don't care. Like, you guys are so like, I can't promote that. Like, you were really rude to her. You acted like she wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't promote that kind of bullying because they basically was bullying this artist. And I mean, if I tell you who it is, you're going to know her. If you were into like 90s, R&B in 2000s. So it was a big deal for them to be able to even work with her. And for them to be so rude to her, it really just messed everybody's like perception of them up. So I had to take it down and replace the cover, and that's still there. I never erased anything, but I just had to put someone else on the cover to get it out, and they were very upset with me, and it was okay. I never went after them again, of course, but I mean, it was really funny because I just like. A little tweet, this thing, and they just thumbs up. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," but there's a lot of issues I've had to put away just because, in my personal opinion, the quality wasn't great. Because again, I was 15, so like people will never see those issues. I think the first issue I ever did was me. I was on the cover and I was like jumping on a chair. I like did a selfie of myself jumping on a chair or whatever. It was just like. Ugh, like to go back and look at that, like 15, I was like, oh my God, this is how I designed at 15. Like I was trying my best, of course, but to put that out now, it just would have been, so that's why, like, if you go look at the publications, the numbers may start at like a certain number and not one, because a lot of them are archived and some of them are just short. I mean, at a certain point, I kind of ran out of people to interview when I was younger, so I had to just publish what I had. But there's a lot of different issues that are just sitting there. I'll probably publish them eventually, but I mean, the first one that people will see is the one I did with this girl who was a cancer survivor, and I loved her to death. I still talk to her, actually. She was the first publication that I did after myself, and I published that eventually, but she's great. She got over the cancer and everything, and she's been doing good. But she was my first like publication cover, because that's what I wanted to do at first. I just wanted to tell really good stories, and then I was like, well, maybe these celebrities have good stories to tell. I didn't really want to know their juicy secrets or nothing, no shit like that. I just wanted to know if they overcame stuff. Because you know how people like are perceived online as like sometimes perfect and stuff. It's like, yeah, but what's behind that? Because I know you're not always like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wanted to congratulate you on your first office space. I saw you posted about it, and I wanted to just ask you about that in terms of how that came about and how you felt when you got your first ever office space. I think this, just for anyone who's been listening to this, I think it's a big deal that you actually have an entire office space dedicated to what you're doing. So let us give us a bit more on that there.
Well, when I decided to make the brand an LLC, I knew that people want to meet. So I was like, I don't want people to come to my house. I don't want people to know where I live at. So what better way than to, get an office? And I searched around a lot. It's very expensive to get even like a little box. It could be like $500 to $600 a month. So when I found the place that I have my office at, which is this company called Gather, I think they're only on the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. But they are the ones that I rent the office space through, and they're really good. They have a lot of good amenities. They also have a podcast booth that you can book for free there, event spaces, and mailbox and receptionist. Like, they have a lot of good amenities for the price. So when I finally went and purchased it, of course I talked the lady's head off, of course. But when I purchased it, I probably had a small panic attack. I just don't remember. Because it took me a long time to actually believe in myself enough to even get that far. So purchasing an office space was such a big deal for me because it was kind of like a reality. Like, I actually am a business. Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know if you guys ever sat there and like just like thought about like, wow, we're actually like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's something I've always wanted for so long, was to actually be an actual business, to actually be able to say I'm a CEO or something. So it was crazy. I mean, I took so many pictures. When it comes to me taking pictures for like social media, I take about 100 pictures before I actually get one good picture, which is so annoying. But if you look through my photo album, I have like 100 of the same pictures, just different angles. Because I can't, like, I always, it takes me forever to get the perfect angle, in my opinion. So I took so many pictures of that office space. I was so excited. And it's 24-hour access, so I was in there all day and night. And then when I went and got mail at my mailbox, like, the little stuff like that was so crazy to me. I was like, wow, I have an office mailbox. That is crazy. Even though it was a bill, I didn't even care. I was like, this is my mailbox. I paid for this mailbox. That is insane. Like, that's crazy. So, yeah, it wasn't a hard process. I mean, their process wasn't. They just ask you kind of about your business, and then they just tell you the rules of the place, and then they get you to sign a contract, and, they give you your keys. They also offer logo placement on your door, so I was also excited about that. So it's a leap of faith, in all honesty, because you're buying into your brand at that point. Like, you don't even know if it's going to work. So me buying an office space was like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I gotta try. Like, that's how I looked at it. I just wanted to be more professional in people's eyes, because it's like, yeah, okay, I can meet you at your house, but like, what's your business address? And they asked for that on the application when I went to go become an LLC, and I was like, I could have a home office, but like, I really should get out the house. Like, if it was up to me, I would just do my job in my bed all day. I would not leave. So I was like, let me get outside. Maybe I need some sun. So I'll get a little office. And I want want to do eventually, I want to have a building with just an open space. If people who work for me, if they want an office, they can have an office space. But just a big building of just creatives everywhere. And I just want people to come to work. There's not going to be a set schedule. You just come to work and do your project. All I care about is that the project is done. I don't really care what time you do it. I just want the project to be done. So I just want to have a big building where creatives can just come and work. And if they need a nap, because I worked them too hard, they can also take a nap. Like, it's just a chill environment for them to just do what they love, getting paid and being able to feed their family. And then on top of that, I want to own an apartment building next to that office building that my employees can rent, and it'll just come out of their paycheck. So they don't have to worry about if they have kids or if they have to go pick their kids up, whatever, from daycare. There's also going to be a daycare in the office, but like, they don't have to worry about their, electricity being cut off, or if their rent isn't paid on time or whatever, because I own the building. So I just want to make a business that is just so chill to people. Like, it just brings so much ease to your life if you work for my business. You get what I'm saying? And if you retire with my business, then you can just keep your apartment, because obviously you put the work in. If you're able to retire from there, you put a lot of work into my company, so you can just keep your house. You know what I mean? But that's my goal. So I'm starting with one office space, and then I'll expand it, and make it a big building. So that's my goal anyway. Just make a chill empire. I don't care how you come to work. You can come to work in a freaking rabbit bunny onesie, just as long as you get the project done. I really don't care. you know, and it helps because like also being a creative like you guys are, you know, creatives need breaks, and it's not always when they're assigned to them, you know, like sometimes they just need breaks in the middle of just the day just because they're feeling just so overworked and they just need to take a mental break for like a second. And if you work at a regular job, you can't just walk off the job and take a mental break all the time until it's assigned to you or somebody tells you can leave. So at my company, I want people to be able to just be able to come and go. As long as your project is done, they can come and go as they please. And, you know, that's all I really care about. I just care about people because, like, if they're not good mentally, they're not going to be able to do their job right. And it's the same thing with the apartment next to the building. If their home is not good, they're not going to be able to do their job right. So they have to also be good. Like, I can't be selfish and be like, well, my project's due on this date. It's like, yeah, but they can't do it because they're not okay right now. Like, they have to be okay to be able to, you know, work for your company. And I had that issue a lot of times when I was working because I was a security guard for 3 years. Don't even ask me about that one.
You've brought it up. Now it kind of has to be spoken about. Intent, but yeah, I'll continue.
So, yeah, I saw a lot of people kind of like mentally not ready for it, and they weren't given the chance to be mentally ready for it. So they kind of messed up their job. And it's like you have to care about your employees. Like, you can't just put the job before them. You know, they're the ones that make your company great. You can't just excuse that they're not okay. Like, you have to make sure they're good so they can come to work and do their job and stuff. And you have to care about people anyway. So, like, that's my thing. And the company's not going to be like an all-girl company. I had the idea at first, but I was like, nah, I want everybody to come in there and create. So I want to have creators that are just from all walks of life, all genders, all whatever. I don't care what you identify as. If you can make a fire web design, then come on in. That's just who I am. I just want a chill place where people can just, when they come to work, they're good, you know? So, yeah, that's why I bought the office space to start off small, because that's my thing. Like, when people want to start a business, it's okay to not have everything together. You know what I mean? People always think, like, I had a girl come to me and ask me about, like, how she should start her business and stuff one time. And she was like, I don't have a lot of money, and so I can't really start it. I'm like, yeah, you can. I had $0 back credit, a credit card I need to pay off when I started. So I was like, you can just, all you have to do is just learn how to do certain things yourself, and then you can start any business. She wanted to do like a t-shirt business, and the way that I do my t-shirt stuff is like print on demand, because you don't have to have any inventory. It's free. You just design something and put on a shirt and you sell it. Like, that's so easy. And if the design is fire, then you're good to go. So, like, that's the thing that a lot of people don't get, is that you don't actually need money to start a business. You don't even need to have a business license to start a business. You don't need to do anything but just start it, you know? And that's what I did when I was younger, because I didn't have any money to get somebody to design my website or anything, or pay those little monthly subscriptions to shit. Like, I didn't have that kind of money at all. I didn't even have a job. I was 15. So my mom, she was a single parent, so she really couldn't help me out with that. So it's like, I always tell people, if you're going to start a business, just start it. Like, it's okay if you don't have it all together. And you fail a couple of times, it's fine. You know, just at least you started it. Like, that's something. Like, a lot of people don't even make it that far. Like, they just have a whole bunch of ideas sitting in their head and they never come out. Like, they're just in their head the whole time. So me getting the office space was me basically starting my business for the first time. Like, I always had a brand, but it wasn't a business. Like, it's a different feeling. It's not a different feeling when I file taxes. That's not fun. But like, like, actually being able to, like, when people request stuff from me, like, where's your business license or this, whatever, and I could be like, bam, here you go. I'm a real business. Like, that feels great. You know, it's very scary, in my opinion, to start or become a real business, though. I was more like, I liked being more comfortable as just a brand that people came across rather than an actual business. But, you know, I'm getting there. And the office space just made it a little easier, you know.
Yeah.
I was very proud of myself for that, because I had a couple meetings there. It was pretty neat, you know. So I always start small first. I don't really be jumping in there like crazy. I have big dreams, but I know that you have to start somewhere, you know.
Yeah, and I think it also adds a lot of value having something tangible like beyond just social media and whatnot. Yeah, it is an online based thing, but it's sort of like having an actual office as well is you know, it's sort of like that social media presence, you know, personified and made into something like touchable and like something we can relate to on a human sort of level, which actually leads me like nicely to my second and final question is that, you know, are there any plans to sort of expand, you know, beyond just, you know, the United States? You know, obviously the artists that you get on the magazine are artists from like Reuben is from Korea and whatnot. You know, you're already sort of like a global entity. But when I say expand, I mean sort of like, you know, have like a base of operations. Say, for example, I'm going to be biased here in South Africa, have one out in Korea, have one, you know, wherever, sort of like, and also would you then sort of look at having, you know, like an actual physical magazine type setup as well? So it's kind of like two questions in one.
Well, I want to put the magazine in stores. That's like my next goal, because you can buy a physical copy for $20, and the physical copies go into the Creative Arts Fund, which gets paid to our college writers, because most of my writers are in college. I can't pay them a salary, but the Creative Arts Fund is for that. So if they ever need art supplies or just food or a bus pass or something, they can go into the Creative Arts Fund and get them some money out and, you know, do what they have to do. Because I went to college for a day, so I'm not going to say like I've experienced college, but if the person that's writing for me is really trying to get through college and they just need like $20 to get their school supplies or something, and they're contributing to my publication every month, like I should be able to give them that $20. You know what I mean? So everything I make from the publication side goes into my writers. So I do want to get print copies in the stores and different newsstands, because I know they would love to see themselves. Like if they're walking down the street and they see the magazine, they're gonna be like, wow, like I'm like, this is real. Like, that's crazy, you know? So I want to eventually expand and do that one day. It's just like paying for that inventory is crazy. But the publication is actually printed in another country. I think it's like Indonesia or something, because it's very expensive over here to print in state. So as far as expanding outside of the US, I always wanted to. I want Reignland to be a global brand eventually, because everybody in different states different countries read the publication. At first, it really was only people in the UK that really read the publication, surprisingly. And then it went to like New York and Los Angeles and stuff like that. And then, you know, all over. So I would love to definitely put a Reignland in every country. Like, that's my goal. It's just like, finding dedicated people is the hard part. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing that I always have a problem with. But eventually, I guess I'll get there. Like, if people want it, they'll, you know, help me out with it. But the publication, I would love a different, like, version of it. You know how I have, like, 20 different Teen Vogues? Like, they have a Chinese version. They got a Australian version. Like, there's so many different versions of the magazine. And I would love to do that one day, where I can get, like, for example, a South African version of Reignland, because it will be their culture in Reignland, like something I can't really speak on because I'm not from South Africa. But if I get like a Reignland in South Africa, that publication is going to be something new for us over here. You know, we'll be able to read from their perspectives and, you know, see how they do stuff over there. I would love that, in all honesty. I mean, that's the whole purpose of it, is unity and empowerment. So it's like, I always want to learn about other people in different places. So that is definitely a goal of mine. That's why, like, my writers are from different different countries. They're not all from here. A lot of them are from London. So that's my goal, is to expand it and get an office space over there and, you know, build an apartment building over there and stuff. But it's just like finding people to join the collective without getting paid is the hard part. So that's why I offer like the other opportunities that I can give people at this point in time, like going to different events like New York Fashion Week and stuff like that for free. And the other part of that is like all of my writers who are on the team, I build their websites for free so they can also get their brands out there, because it's not just about my brand. You know, these people have dreams of their own. So I can't just be like, oh, focus only on my shit. Like, no, they also have dreams. They also have things they want to do with their life. So I want to help them do what they also want to do. You understand what I'm saying? And maybe me having writers in other countries will help, you know, with that situation. Maybe one of them can take over that division over there. Because the next issue I'm putting out actually has a artist from the UK on it. And I don't even think I've ever had a UK artist on the cover. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of Elena Perez. She's a singer in California, and she put out a record with this producer named Gallimatius. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the album was amazing. You guys would probably love her, but the album was amazing. It's called Urban Flora. She has it's really soothing, kind of like EDM, kind of UK sound, but it's kind of mixed with the States sound at the same time. It's really good. But he's putting out his debut album, and that's who's going to be on the cover. And he has like a UK PR and a States PR. So it's like he's the first big deal artist that I've ever had on the cover. You know, I'm trying to expand to other sounds because, like, I don't want to just stick to the United States. Like, I want to hear other people's, you know, sound. Because their sounds they could, you know, if they are brought over here, you know, they could really change the industry. You know what I mean? I have my taste in music is all over the place. Like I'll even listen to some Asian stuff. Like I have some favorite rappers who are Asian. I have no idea what they're saying, but they sound so good though. Like they flow is so fire. I have no idea what they're saying though, but that flow is crazy. So I'm an open book when it comes to, like, you know, learning about different stuff. Like even you guys, your podcast, like listening to your podcast from over here, it will definitely like allow the States to learn more about music over there. You know what I mean? That we probably haven't heard yet or whatever. So it's always good to like have that kind of connection, and for you guys to invite me on there, and I'm now telling like people over here, like, you guys gotta listen to this podcast. They're gonna learn about the artists that they probably never heard of, you know, or could, you know. Again, my playlist is just crazy. Like I listen to everything. So, but some of the people that you've had on your podcast, I've definitely went and was like, wow, their music is actually pretty fire. So yeah, I want to expand eventually. And it might just be South Africa be the first place, you know. Now I got some people over there that can help promote, you know.
Yeah, without a doubt, like 100%. I think I even speak for Meagan here. Like I think it's something, you know, that we'd be keen on, you know, seeing manifest, and wherever you need help, like I personally on my end would be keen on helping out in any way I can on my side, because what you're doing is really special. I mean, it's part of the reason why we even reached out and wanted to talk to you and stuff. I don't know if you share the same sort of thoughts, Meagan.
Yeah, I think we need like at least an edition of Reignland. Definitely.
Yes.
Whoa, I've never heard it sound like that. Oh. I mean, it sounds fancy. I mean, geez, that sounds so elegant.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't roll my R's like that, though.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be a hit this side, honestly. Like there's a thriving, like with the sort of aesthetic that you're going for, I feel like there's like a target market. Like the kind of artists that you've had on your online mag and just on your magazine in general, like I feel like I even think of like I can even think of examples, but we can just exchange like artists and all that and playlists and all that after the show or whenever we communicate. But with even everything you're just saying, with your vision and everything, it's just added, just one more thing on my personal list of things that I really look forward to seeing, things that I really just pray that I'm alive to see manifest, because I have no doubt that everything that you're wanting to do will definitely happen. I always have this thing in my mind where it's like the people who are mainstream right now, or the people at the top, like for example, maybe in hip hop, your Jay-Z's and everyone, are people that they didn't just start yesterday. They also started small. They started way back when. And this thing always sort of comes in waves. It doesn't happen where a person like a Playboy Cardi woke up and was Playboy Cardi that we know, or something like that. And it's sort of like he started back then. So I really feel like with what you're doing, you're already in a place where we can see that you've put in enough work to have it be where it is now. And the more you continue, the more everything you're wanting to do will manifest. I have no doubt it will happen. I just pray that I'll be alive to see it happen. So, yeah, with that being said, like, I really just appreciate you, even allowing us to have this conversation with you, Ella. Like, it's been eye-opening. I've learned a lot. So thank you so much for joining us.
You're gonna make me tear up.
Meagan, I don't know if you feel the same way. Like, what are your thoughts, just closing out?
This has been a beautiful experience, guys. Thank you so much.
Your voice is so calm. It's so soothing. I'm just sitting here listening like, wow. You really do like a late night show or something.
Oh, thank you. I've always wanted to be like, have any of you seen The Boat That Rocked?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's about pirate radio. A British pirate radio that like played rock music in I think the 70s or 80s, and like it's about them challenging the law to play like pop music and rock music, which was like blasphemous at the time. It's a really good one. Yeah, and they have like this late night host that's like really mysterious and cool. Like that's my guy.
You would definitely be perfect for that. Your voice is so soothing. Like, I don't know if it's just an act for the podcast, but like your voice is really calm and like quiet, and it's so interesting. I'm like, wow. I just waiting for you to be like, it's late night with Meagan. Like, just real. Yes. Like, I'm just waiting for you to say, like, it's crazy.
Nas keeps wanting me to start an ASMR career on the side.
I can definitely see that.
I hope that what you said, Ella, will motivate Meagan to go down that route. Finally.
I'm inspired by, like, on so many levels already. Like, it's been a tasty ride, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been super awesome. So I think in closing, Ella, just where can people sort of get in touch with you? Anyone who's actually listened from the beginning, shout out to you. Yeah, just let us know where people can get in touch with you and how they can connect with you.
You can follow me on social media at Audrey Rae. I've been blessed enough to snag all the tags on every social network. So it's the same on every social network: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I don't make TikToks, I just have an account on there. YouTube, Snapchat, and you can visit my website at ellarae.com. And you can also email me. My personal email is hello@ellarae.com. The magazine's email is hello@reignland.co. And the magazine's website is reignland.co.
That is special, and I think it's a very different episode. We usually have artists on, and we usually play out one of their songs. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you what your current favorite song is, and you could probably play out with it.
Oh, I can put an artist on right now. Oh snap! This is a lot of pressure. I'm looking at my playlist here. I think I want to, actually, this girl is from South Africa, so I'm going to go with her. She's a new artist. She just released her EP. Her name is Fila, and she just released an EP called Philosophy. And I would tell you to play Talk About It, which is the fourth track off of the EP.
Ella, thank you so much. To everyone that's listening, this episode is going to be going up on SoundCloud. We are Sludge Underground Podcast. And on Apple Podcasts, we are Sludge Underground Podcast there as well. And Spotify, Sludge Underground Podcast. Catch us on social media. Facebook, we are Sludge Underground. On Instagram, at Sludge Underground. And on Twitter, at SludgeEarthy1. If you want to pop us an email, it's sludgeunderground@gmail.com. And yeah, as for myself, it's at Zwane Earthy1 on all social media platforms. Meagan, who are you online?
You can find me on Instagram at lemondove or at Meagan King.
Ella, thank you once again. All the best going forward. Send our regards to your awesome daughter, and just all the best with everything that you do.
Thank you so much. I had a good time.
Take me aboard and make me believe in this harder. I know that you were charming. Knew I was gone when it started. Look at you in a jacket that you got from your dad. You're the best occupant that thing's ever had. Be careful, it don't matter now. I gotta know what we are doing. Tell me what we are. About it. 100%. This is just absolutely nerve-wracking. I feel like a fool. It's not fair. Can we talk about it? Yeah. I've started thinking about us. It's more than friends. You've got that thing that girls like us can't resist. Wait a minute, what you mean that you single? I really thought that we were a thing. What you mean though? Introduce you to my team and my mama. She don't like you, but that's the last thing on my mind. You know I can be a fool for the drama. Scared of some things, death, loneliness, and karma.
How much like I look so like actually it's like so
Can we talk about it?
Like I be clearing my schedule for you and shit.
Can we talk about it?
Like now I'm so confused. Now I'm very excited. I just want to go back. Can you take me home, please? Can you take me home, please?
Reading too much in between the lines. Looked way too hard and I became blind. Must have fucked up in mistaken time. For interest. Think I just wanted you way too badly. Didn't have you, though you had me. And even though you know I'd take you gladly, I can't guarantee that we'd be happy. Don't be careful, it don't matter now. I gotta know what we are doing. Tell me what we are. I gotta know what we are.